Well, firstly, how good is this? Jesse, great to see you as well, my friend. What are we, 5 weeks on now from a very special night for yourself? How have those 5 weeks been for you, and how do you look back on what was a very special night in your career and your life?
Since that fight, I've been at home. I went on a trip to Japan with my girl. Came home, just been a dad ever since. I just been feeding my daughter, changing her diapers, things like that. Normal life, nothing crazy. How
are you finding life as a dad now, and how have you sort of changed in terms of the motivation that it gives you now every time you're in the ring?
The birth of my daughter was the biggest accomplishment ever. It's better than any world title I've ever won. And just, it's a lot more motivating in the gym. Just, I want to be a better fighter, better person overall to give her a better life.
What you said to me earlier, just as we were coming up the list, was it's actually easier being a dad than you thought it was going to be. What do you think about that, Eddie?
Yeah, I don't know. Mine are 14 and 11. Wait till you get to that age. Yeah. No, I think that it gives you another purpose. You know, I think sometimes, you know, Jesse, I'm sure, went through his early part of his career wanting to chase greatness and, you know, always wanted the big fights and, you know, the big moments and the belts. And now I think it gives you a little bit more structure. You apply your business a little bit different. You start thinking more about your money, what you're going to do with it, you know, and your future in the sport. And also, at some point, which is hopefully in a good for you, is an exit plan. You know, because you want to spend time with them, and it's very difficult if you're in training camp or you're on the road all the time, giving them that time. So the timing was really good because she was at the fight. You know, I couldn't believe that she was there, about that big. You know? And now he's had this rest where he can actually spend time with his daughter, which is really important before we plan the future.
In terms of the future, everyone always talks about the four kings. You've beat 3 of them, and everyone keeps talking now about the Chocolatito fight. Is that a fight that we could see? Because I know you two are quite close as well.
Yeah, I mean, right now it doesn't really make any sense. I feel like he just doesn't have any reason to fight me right now. But I did see an interview where he mentioned about he was open to fighting me if the money's right. So, I mean, down the line, if it makes sense, then all right, let's make it happen.
In your opinion, Eddie, what is the best option for Bam right now?
Well, I think firstly it's important to say that I honestly think that Bam is probably at about 30 or 40% of his potential. Like, you have to understand, it's a very, very young man. You know, you talk about Crawford tomorrow night, obviously 10 years older than Bam. Like, you know, he's got such a long way to go in the sport. So the strategy and the plan and the path is really important at this stage. Juan Francisco Estrada has the rematch option. You know, I think he feels like that time out of the ring, you know, was a little bit of a handicap to him. We don't. We just think that Jesse was sensational. But it was a huge event, did huge numbers, and we'd be ready and willing to run it back. For me, I always believed that a fighter should chase the belts, should chase undisputed. And I think the Puma Martinez fight is a fight that really appeals to Jesse as well, because I think he wants to capture the belts. You know, when he moved from light fly to super fly in 1 week's notice, you know, he says, I want to go back down to light flyweight, and then vacated the super fly to go to flyweight. Then realised couldn't really make flyweight anymore. Now he's back at super fly. So for me, the plan has to be win belts at super fly, and then eventually probably move to bantam, and then keep going up the weight classes. I think you're looking at least a 3-4 division world champion, and who knows? You know, when this is the first time I've seen him out of camp where he doesn't look as heavy. You know what I mean? Is that tactical?
Yeah, nah. Like I said earlier, I feel like I've matured as a person inside the ring, outside the ring. I don't, you know, overdo my eating now. Back then, I would just eat when I was bored, but now I have self-control now.
When you look at where you're at now in the recent pound-for-pound list, Jesse, across the board, what do you believe you proved in the ring that night against Estrada?
I just proved that I'm one of the best, one of the greats, and people believe that because now I'm number 5 on the pound-for-pound list, and that just goes to show the kind of fighter I am.
You used to always
go on to say, sorry, that performance, watching that performance at ringside was unbelievable. I mean, the Sonny Edwards performance was really good. And, you know, performances before that were really good. Rung Visai stands out for me as well. But that performance against Estrada was sensational. I mean, I know he kicks himself that he got dropped. I still think it was a bit of a foot tangle. But, you know, looking back, his honesty, he went, no, fair play, you know. But it just kind of added to the drama. And actually to bounce back there and get the stoppage as quickly as he did, it was such a special performance. And I think that now Jesse's really starting to believe in himself, you know, and really starting to live the life. And that's where you're going to see the levels just continue to rise. I think you're looking at, you know, I'm so pleased that he's getting a recognition now as a pound-for-pound top 5. I think he's pound-for-pound top 5 already, you know, and I think he's going to continue to move through the pound-for-pound rankings. And I think because of his age and because of his ability, I think you're looking at the pound-for-pound king of the sport.
Would you agree with Eddie as well, Bam, that Estrada rematch is what makes most sense now?
I mean,
What do you want?
yeah, I mean,
We haven't even had a meeting yet.
yeah, I mean, anybody, Estrada or Puma, I'm open to both of those fights. So, whichever comes first, whichever. I mean, it's really up to Estrada at this point. If he wants to rematch, then, I have no choice. But if not, then Puma's, even an even bigger fight. So.
When you look at the build-up to the Sonny Edwards fight and the Bam we see now with the face tattoos, he's changing, but the confidence is growing. For you, Bam, since everything you went through in terms of the verbal back and forth with Sonny, how has that also shaped you and changed you as a fighter as well, do you think?
It just made me keep my self-control even more. I didn't let anything Sonny said or did get to me, so I believe that itself goes to show the kind of person I am as well.
And you're here to support your stablemate, of course, this weekend in the chief support, Rayo Valenzuela.
Tell me, can he win?
Can he win?
Yes, yeah. I believe so. I was in camp with him. I spent my whole camp with him. He's been there for like 4 months now, so he's more than ready. I saw him spar a couple times. He looked sharp, and he was like a month and a half out still, so I believe he just got even better. And come tomorrow night, he's going to shock the world. He's going to, open a lot of eyes. And
I've got a funny feeling about this fight. Yeah. I think you might be right.
As a fight fan as well, Jesse, what makes you a fan of Bud Crawford?
Crawford, he's entertaining. I mean, any style that you throw at him, he's going to adjust and take over the fight. So, I mean, he's definitely pound for pound one of the best.
When we're talking about these fights, especially for Crawford, obviously you're hoping your man Israel Madrimov upsets the apple cart tomorrow night, but Crawford's looking at that fight with Canelo. What about this man and Inoue down the line as well?
Yeah, it's a bit of a dream fight at the moment. Like, it's a fight that, when you talk about Crawford-Canelo, that's kind of like the same situation as Bam against Inoue. Like, it's a bit crazy, but people like crazy, and people like people chasing greatness. For me, because of Jesse's age, like if Jesse was 30 and he had like 1 or 2 fights left, I think I'd be saying to him, look, do you want to see the kind of money that's in that fight? Like, but we've got a plan. We've got our own path. And the plan for Jesse is to consistently take the right fights over his career, make as much money as possible, win as many belts as possible, but take the right fights at the right time. Robert Garcia does a brilliant job, he's always looked out for Jesse and, always make sure that he gets the max for him all the time. But it's just taking the right fights at the right time. But he's so good that you don't really need to protect him. But Inoue is up at Super Bantam. If he's anywhere near there in 12 months' time, I think it will be a different conversation. But, this guy, I wouldn't bet against anybody at any weight against this guy.
What's your honest thoughts on that, Bam? Because I think that's probably a question that you're going to be asked quite a lot this week.
I mean, I've been getting asked about it for a while now. I've always said it's a fight that is, eventually I believe it will happen down the line. Like Eddie said, he's super bantam right now. I'm super flyweight. So when the time is right and our paths collide, then it'll be a great fight.
And I know there's a big queue behind us. So just quickly, while we've got you together, I'm going to ask you both this question. Where do you believe, with Eddie by your side, Bam, that this journey can go? What is the ultimate dream? You're 24 now, but if we're catching up in 10 years' time, what is the goal now?
I mean, honestly, it's as far as I want to take it. As far as I want to take it. That's all I got to say.
For you, Eddie, dream to work with, I imagine.
Oh yeah, I mean, look, to be honest with you, I don't want him to get a pay rise, but Kevin Rooney, Robert Garcia told me, when we started in America 5 years ago, you need to sign this kid. He was a light fly at the time. I'm like, light fly, and we got him on a show, and they didn't stop, and Kevin didn't stop championing him, and it was really the Quadras fight. The coming out fight was just the performance was so good, and just the momentum from there has made him one of the stars of our company, DAZN, but boxing. I think it's one of the great rises, one of the great success stories that I've been involved with, and it's just the beginning. All we've got to do is just stay consistent, stay focused, and the sky's the limit. Like, he's gonna, and what's most pleasing now is as we're seeing the crowds go up. You go from the Edwards fight to the Estrada fight. Now his stock's even higher. Now you go back. He's going to want more money, and he deserves it. You get longer plan, longer term. But now you're in the situation with those fights, Estrada, Puma, maybe Chocolatito, all those kind of guys, where you can probably map out the next 12 to 18 months. And that's really nice for a fighter, especially now with a family, to say, right, this is what I'm doing. I'm boxing then I've got that time off. Then I want to box in March, then I want to box in July, then I want to box in December. You know, but one thing about him is he's not really interested in nothing fights. Like, I remember when we made the Estrada fight, he was almost like, look, if you can't make Estrada, just call me when you've got a fight that I'm interested in, rather than, oh, I'll just take a defence. So, you know, he needs things to get him up for it. He's always up for it, he's a pro. But he likes challenges as well, and I think the future's so exciting.
Why is that, Bam?
About the Estrada fight?
Just about what Eddie's saying about you're not interested in these gimmies.
I'm just not interested in the fights that, you know, really don't make any sense. At the time, when they had mentioned the Estrada, like originally June 29th, they weren't sure if it was Estrada yet, and my daughter was just born, so I'd rather just spend time with her than go in camp and train for, you know, a fight I really don't care about. So when they mentioned Estrada, I did. Yeah, I did. I actually did 2 weeks of camp back home, and then I took off. I went out for a week by myself, and then I sent out my girl, my baby for 3 weeks, and then they went back home. But like I said, it's just, if it doesn't make sense, it really doesn't interest me.
Well, best of luck, Bam, obviously with Rayo tomorrow night. The future's very bright. We look forward to news very soon. Eddie and Bam, thanks for talking to us.